So the next thing I want to do in order to embed the video here, I've done all my thinking, I've done all my planning, is I'll click on this Actions button. Right now we're in the presentation, but I want to take them to a YouTube video. And this YouTube video here is about using dialogue circles to support classroom management. So I'll click on Share, then I will copy the video link, and again, it's a good idea to have all of these links and things in a document or in a place ready to go, so that as you are actually facilitating the class, that things are going to run smoothly. When I click on Share a new video, it is going to very quickly put my video here and it will audio start. So I will usually then pause the video, and this is where I will give my students introduction to the video. This is where I'm going to come back to the chat, and I'm going to reiterate, as we're watching this video, kind of watch it with the thinking in mind of your own experiences in education, in the classroom, in our classroom, how the strategy that you're about to see is working, and the implications of this strategy on your future practice. I would then push play.
Before I started doing circles in my class, I found it very difficult to start the academic day. Students had things that they wanted to share that had happened with them, things they were concerned about, and I had a very long line of
Okay, and so in order to make sure that I'm not taking up all of your time, I'm going to just go ahead. You can, as the teacher, scrub forward in the video, and I know that the first spot where I would stop and ask a question would be at 1 minute and 52 seconds. So I'm going to kind of forward to that spot just to show you a couple more seconds of the video. I would just push play again.
Or to look gently at the ground. The next thing I do in circle is a check-in with a scale from 1 to 5.
Okay, so what they just did was a mindfulness activity, then they do a check-in. In our live classes, we do that particular kind of activity every single session, so that will connect with this very first question I'm going to want students to respond to using writing, and that is, how is what we're seeing in this circle similar to what we do in class each live session? What I'm looking for here is really seeing students make that connection of what they're seeing being done with elementary students is that same thing we do as adults every single class session. This question's also then going to help kind of prime their thinking to be able to then answer questions later about how this social aspect can then be used as a discipline, a restorative disciplinary practice rather than a punitive practice later. So I would have my students go ahead and answer that question. Then I can push play and continue on. Quick note, I always make sure that when I'm using a YouTube video, I have my closed captions on so that this video can be accessible to as many students as possible. So then when I'm finished watching this video, asking my questions, and I want to have my students go into breakout rooms, I come back to this blue action button, click on it, and I would simply say, stop sharing the video. You can't really toggle back and forth between the video and your PowerPoint. That's kind of one of the big downsides of most of these conferencing programs, that if you toggle back and forth, you kind of have to re-add videos or re-add presentations. So when you're doing this, a tip would be to make sure you have your questions, make sure you have your plan for how you're going to have students answer and do those questions, and then be able to exit out of that, and you'll see it pops me right back into my presentation. So my next slide would be the prompt for how to interact and engage in the discussion rooms, in the breakout rooms. I would have the room number and what each room is about, and then I would come over here to users, and I can, under this little settings button, come down to create breakout rooms. When I do this, it pops up, it asks me how many rooms. I've got 25 students, and it's really a good idea to have no more than 5 students in a room at a time so that everyone gets an opportunity to be heard. So I'll put down 6 rooms. The duration, this is really important. What you set here is going to automatically dump everybody back into the main room when this time is up. So I really want my students to get a quality out of this. There are 5 students in each room, 15 minutes. That's an average about 3 minutes per student in the room. I could randomly assign students 2 rooms, or I'm going to actually allow them, in this case, to choose the room that they want to go into to have this after video conversation. And that way they can really choose what each room, like which grade level they want to go to. Each one will only be titled Room 1, Room 2, so you really do need to have that slide saying what is each room, like what's the topic for each room. You then would create this, and the students would get a notification that says join a room, here is your opportunity, and it'll put them right in there for whatever duration this is. So that, I'm going to close that. That is how you use video for synchronous conferencing, specifically using BigBlueButton. If you want to use Zoom, you'll have to see some of those functionality pieces. Go in Sandbox. Go play around with whatever app it is you want to use. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck teaching online.